Full and uncut versions available on Patreon. Check in the description below.
Greetings once again, Pokemaniacs. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with more of the Pokemon Adventures manga, the Ruby and Sapphire arc, where previously, the challenge between Ruby and Sapphire has gone underway. Within the span of 80 days, Ruby is to complete all Pokemon contests and win all the ribbons, while Sapphire is to challenge every Pokemon gym and get every gym badge. But their beginnings are both off to a fairly rocky start of sort, pun fully intended. Ruby ends up in the same city that his father is the current new gym leader of. He runs into a young boy named Wally, a sickly child with a breathing problem, who has a desire to catch a Pokemon of his own, who was supposed to be helped by none other than Norman, who Ruby has to do his best to duck around. But as he meets up with Wally, he finds that Norman has declined helping Wally because he fears that giving Wally his own Pokemon will just put Wally in more hazardous situations that its health can tolerate. But Ruby, not really wanting to do what his father decrees in any way, shape, or form, has Wally go out with him at night in order to catch his first Pokemon, which ends up being a Kelsion, all thanks to Ruby handing over his Ralts temporarily. But a sudden earthquake causes a landslide that Ruby gets caught up in, and he's separated from Wally and his Ralts, ending up out at sea being fished out by Mr. Briny. All this with not a contest in sight. Meanwhile, Sapphire has an even more tumultuous beginning, as she ends up helping out Mr. Stone, head of the Devon Corporation, save his Pokemon from a fountain. But in truth, this was a trap laid by Team Aqua, all in an effort to steal some important components from Mr. Stone. Sapphire tracks it down with the help of Gabby and Ty, the reporters, and while she does manage to defeat Team Aqua, they still manage to make off with the Devon company goods. So Mr. Stone, not quite sure who to trust, as it turns out Team Aqua is, well, very much like Team Rocket, very deep in the pocket of a lot of corporations. So Mr. Stone hands over a letter for Sapphire to give to his son, Steven. So Sapphire makes her way, coming upon her very first gym as she feels that she needs to get stronger, which is so weird to me because gyms aren't the places I go to get stronger, especially considering that sometimes if you lose all your EXP. But with a little bit of flexing of her Poke knowledge thanks to her dad, also the good word of her dad, well, her dad's name, Sapphire gets her gym battle against the Rock-type gym leader, Roxanne. Ruby has been washed out to sea. Will Sapphire get bowled over? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, Ruby and Sapphire, Volume 16. A nice little cover. I love the constant display of their personality and character traits. Ruby coming in with a flourish, while Sapphire's coming in all Wild Child style, crouched over. It really has done wonders to help me differentiate these two from their game and anime counterpart. I mean, at least with Red, they did a good job of making me understand how the manga Red could still to some degree be the game counterpart to Red. Although Gary and Blue are two very different characters, very different. So, it's here and there. But a nice little intro. And their primary Pokemon. It's so weird that they have so few. I've been so used to a lot of characters coming in and immediately getting dang near a full team right out the gate within the first few volumes. But there's plenty of time. This is only the second volume of this story arc. Let's jump in. Oh, Ruby's 11 and Sapphire's 10. Was there always an age difference between the two protagonists? See, I'm kind of curious about that. Now it's kind of listed as unknown, which is wild. Okay. But then again, as time has gone on, they've kind of changed up the ages, 10, 11, and so on and so forth. Not to mention time is actually passing in the manga, which is wild. The game has time pass, but honestly, it's almost kind of negligible. It's only once you get to Sun and Moon and you see Red and Blue, it's just kind of like, whoa, Okay, yeah, time has definitely passed. Torchic is introverted? What? Huh, interesting. Oh, huh, that's interesting. An actual chapter cover like thing. Weird. Chapter 191, Blowing Past Nose Pass, Part 2. Sapphire is aghast, saying, "What? I tried to put Rono back in my Pokeball and Aaron seems to be struggling a little bit as Roxanne calls out, "You can't put your Aaron back in your Pokeball at the moment, which means it can't escape. My Nosepass's ability is Magnetic Pull. Nosepass can use his powerful magnetic field to pin down Steel-type Pokemon." Oh, specifically Steel-type Pokemon, huh? And maybe the issue I had wasn't so much that. Also, the underside of Nosepass's nose. I didn't realize it was just one big weird nostril. Freaky. While Nosepass goes crashing into Aaron, knocking it back, Sapphire comes running over to Aaron. But then Roxanne has Nosepass use Rock Throw, and Sapphire's kind of in the crossfire along with Aaron. They're doing their best to avoid the damage, which, man, I know it's for the visual flair and intensity of the situation, but so many people, it feels like, get hurt and killed and injured in a lot of these situations. I feel like you need to sign a waiver to enter into a Pokemon battle. Roxanne smirks, saying, "You'll get hit by those falling rocks too if you're not careful." Oh, but she outright like, "Yep, hey, that's what happens." Pelted by a few giant boulders, Sapphire questions rocks. Roxanne explains, "Exactly. I specialize in rock-type Pokemon. I'm Roxanne, the gym leader of Rustboro City, the rock-loving honor student. You have the advantage over me. After all, Steel-type moves are super effective against rock types. But now that your Pokemon is pinned down by that magnetic field, I'll bet you regret choosing a Pokemon with a steel body." I actually like the fact that she's prepared to go up against a Pokemon type that should technically be her weakness. This is what it means to be a gym leader. I study hard to acquire the knowledge that enables me to defeat opponents who have the advantage over me. Exactly what I was saying. Oh, but Sapphire just smiles through, saying, "Rona, gym leaders are wicked strong, but I'm not gonna lose this battle." Freaking sounds like she's from Brooklyn. She dodges the rocks coming her way. She says, "There's gotta be a way to do something about this. We just have to hang on till we figure it out." Roxanne mocks her, saying, "Impossible. My perfect strategy is built upon my wealth of knowledge, and there's nothing you can do to counter that." As Nosepass just sends out a massive rock, almost crushing Sapphire and Aaron, but it does send them flying. As Sapphire struggles to her feet, a crouching position like usual, she says, "That's not exactly true. I already found a loophole in your little strategy. The magnetic pull gets stronger the closer you are to your Nosepass, and weaker the farther you move away from it. Now that we're over here, Rono isn't stuck to the ground no more." Roxanne dismisses this, saying, "So? I can see that, but it won't help you any. Steel-type moves like Metal Claw and Iron Tail don't work if you can't touch your opponent. You can't fight from so far away." That visual representation of Aaron using Iron Tail is funny because it just kind of looks like Aaron's just farting in Nosepass's face. It has a big old nose, so that would be probably super effective. Roxanne mocks her, saying, "If you move any closer, the magnetic field will stop you. But if you stay where you are, you can't attack. Your Pokemon is helpless, but it doesn't matter how far away my Pokemon is from yours." She commands Nosepass to use Rock Throw, followed up by Rock Slide. "Here I am. Burr, burr, rock you like a hurricane." As the rocks are incoming to Sapphire and Aaron, she once again can only do her best to dodge out of the way, almost getting buried under a mound of rocks. Well, she does gotta get buried. She has to kind of dig herself out. Roxanne approaches and moves past Sapphire, opposite her Nosepass, saying, "Looks like it's over. The gym rules state the battle is finished as soon as one of your Pokemon is unable to continue fighting." She goes up the steps and opens the door, saying, "Right, all right then. This is the way out." But as the wind whips through and moves past Sapphire, she smiles and stretches, saying, "What a nice breeze. This must be the wind blowing in from the mountains." Roxanne questions this, and Sapphire says, "If the mountain is in this direction, The north must be in that direction too. Roxanne questions, what are you going on about? Sapphire says, hey, where do you think you're going? You better come back. This battle ain't over yet. As Baron Aaron bursts out of the ground right behind Nosepass. Use dig. Roxanne is aghast, saying her Aaron dug a tunnel through the ground to maneuver behind my Nosepass. No, Nosepass, you mustn't turn around. And Nosepass tries to turn, but because of magnetism, Nosepass is forced to turn north, right? Nosepass also always turn north, right? Yep, it has to face north, which is something I didn't really think about. It's like she positioned the whole entire gym just to give her Nosepass the advantage, as Nosepass is a little taken off guard because it's just like, no, I can't look behind me. Aaron approaches, and Sapphire calls out, now, Rono, and Aaron slams his head into Nosepass's back. Ooh, causing a bit of a crack. Brutal. And Nosepass hits the ground hard. Roxanne comes rushing over, as Sapphire, just sitting on the rubble she was buried under, pulls out her Pokédex, reading Nosepass, the compass Pokemon. Nosepass's magnetic nose is always pointed to the north. If two of these Pokemon meet, they cannot turn their faces to each other when they are close because their magnetic noses repel one another, which, dang. Well, considering that they could only look north, they would never be able to face each other anyway. Sapphire says, it's just like I thought. When you told me about the magnetic pull, I had a hunch that it would limit Nosepass's movements too. Its nose is magnetic. That's why it always points north. If it tries to turn a different way, it just spins around to face north again. So I figured it was off balance from all that spinning. And then if it tried to attack, Roxanne recalls Nosepass saying, when do you figure all that out? Sapphire says, from the beginning. You told me to stand on this side of your side. You said stand over at the challenger's side. So I got to wonder if there was a reason you wanted to be over here. Roxanne is aghast, saying, you figured it out just from that? Sapphire simply says, I had a hunch. She gets up, stretching and enjoying the breeze from outside, saying, the wind feels nice on my face. Gonna be sunny tomorrow, I just know it. She gets down off of the rock pile and picks up Aaron, saying, Miss Gym Leader, you better quit clinging to your desk all the time. Go outside and listen to the wind and the trees for a change. She gets up close to Roxanne, pointing to her book, saying, they'll teach you things you won't find in your dusty book. How about it? This is a really cute moment. I actually kind of like this. And it's true. Sometimes, book learning is all well and good. I feel like this, I already said this before, but book learning is all well and good, but actual experience, going out, getting a feel from things, getting your hands a little dirty and interacting, that's worth a lot more weight. Roxanne laughs and shuts her book, looking towards the open door, saying, maybe you're right. Oh, I almost forgot. I have to have this to give you. Sapphire should shock as we see the stone badge. Roxanne smiles, saying, the trainer who defeated Roxanne, gym leader of Rushboro City, Sapphire. Represent you with the stone badge as proof of your victory. Sapphire cheers as Roxanne just personally pops it into Sapphire's bag. I mean, that's nice and all that, but I feel like you didn't really need to do that. But Sapphire says, nice, thinks to herself, now I can finally head down to Dewfoot Town and deliver this letter to some guy named Steven. Good luck to some guy named Steven. Meanwhile, said Steven seems to be overlooking the ocean. He's on his Pokegear, saying, I see. So the Submarine Explorer 1 is close to completion. I understand, Captain Stern. I'll head down there as soon as I complete my investigation of Granite Cave. Okay then. I do not really remember Steven Stone. Again, I did watch all of the Pokemon Advance, Battle, Generate, whatever it was called. I watched it. I did watch it, but I remember even less of it than the previous story arc. Just the Johto journeys and all that. Just, man, because I do not remember Steven all that well. So apparently Ruby is still knocked out. Dang, man. earn up to level 30. I don't remember what it was previous at, but shoot, Sapphire already has the stone badge. Come on, Ruby. Get your butt up. Still back on Route 105, whereas Sapphire's ready to move on. Like, shoot. Then again, you don't have to explore too much if you're just doing contests, from what I kind of remember. I don't know. Again, I really was not into contests. Alright, oh man, so I guess we're doing this now. I don't know, I kinda liked it when it was incorporated into the actual chapter, but what you do? The title of this is Chapter 192. Stick this in your crawdun. Oh, we even have a silhouette of the Pokemon too. Who's that Pokemon? It's Crawdon, because you spoiled it in the title. Oh, man. I love the positions that she's in. It's a good thing she's not wearing a dress. We pick up with Sapphire overlooking the ocean high atop a lamppost, and she sets out a whistle, only for Roxanne to approach from behind with her assistance from before, all out of breath, saying, Sapphire, wait! You rushed away so fast we didn't finish talking about the badge and its significance. Sapphire says, gotta dash, off to the next town. Roxanne says, Fallerbort town? And Mauville, yeah. Fallerbort, I'm like, what the fuck is that name? But Mauville, I'm like, yeah, okay, I remember Mauville City. We're on the other side of the mountain. They're not very close. Sapphire tells it, nah, I'm going to Duuz-Diz-Din town. Roxanne questions, Duuz-Diz-Din town? Across the sea? We don't have a regular ferry service. How do you plan to cross the water? Sapphire says, riding a Pokemon, of course. As we see something entering into the water. What is it? Roxanne questions, that Torchic and Aaron aren't your only Pokemon? Sapphire says, this one ain't my Pokemon, actually. Oh, it's a Wailord! Holy crap! Sapphire says, my father lent it to me. Said I could use it whenever I needed to cross a body of water. Roxanne questions, where is it? Sapphire points to the sea, saying, right here. There it is. As the water begins to, what's the word for it? Bulge? I don't know. I feel like there's something else, another word, but Wailord suddenly breaches through the sea. Sapphire says, yeah, jumps onto Wailord's head, saying, long time no see, Lori. It's so big, I don't feel right stuffing it inside an itty-bitty Pokeball. Hey, Lori, I need you to take me to Duuz-Diz-Din town. She pats Wailord's head. Roxanne looks on aghast. Roxanne's assistant says, Miss Roxanne, shouldn't you tell her about the badges? Roxanne suddenly comes to her senses and calls out, oh, hey, that badge shows that you're a skilled trainer who triumphed over a gym leader. You'll need a badge from all the gyms in the Hoenn region to participate in the finals of the Pokemon League tournament. And she's gone. She asks her assistant, do you think she heard me? And the assistant says, no. Meanwhile, with the Legion of Doom, specifically Team Aqua, we see the main members, namely Archie, Shelly, Matt, and Amber. I like the diversity of the crew. Though I do like it a little bit more later down the line when they get more diverse outfits, especially the admins. They all stand before Archie in his office, which is surrounded by sea life, as he says, well done, Matt, Shelly, Amber. You have successfully stolen the key component for Submarine Explorer 1, and as a reward, I shall promote you all to the rank of Aqua Admin. Oh, they weren't even admins yet. Oh, snap. It's weird. They all have a look like they're nervous about something. Like, is that not a good thing to become an admin of Team Aqua? I mean, I say that, but it's kind of one of those things of, is it a good thing for them? Nothing about this is good, but Matt says, thank you very much. Ellie says, it is an honor, Archie, while Amber says, I humbly accept. Archie gestures over to his desk, saying, from today on, you will wear these. Oop, they get the swanky over jackets coming up in the world. Which is especially funny because, I'm looking at the design for the update for Matt, and I'm realizing he's bursting out of his Team Aqua outfit. That's actually hilarious. But, there's nothing about the newer designs that would make you think, oh, they're anything special. But having it be the vest, I never realized the vest signified a higher rank. I just thought it was to look cool, and maybe that was the case. Actually, then says, however, this does not mean that I have forgiven you for your failure. Ah, there it is. That's why they were nervous. Those three saw your faces, yet you failed to get rid of them. You allowed them to escape, not telling you what to do, but I'm sure you can figure it out. Am I right? All three bow, saying, yes, sir. Basically, kill him. Oh, you pick up on Mr. Briney's bell, yeah. As Ruby has finally awoken, going, oof, ah. Where am I? He sneezes, then looks down at his clothes, saying, oh, my clothes are all muddy, and my other clothes are wrinkled. Nuts. Kiki, Nana, Mumu. Oh, you're all right. He looks to his Pokemon and their balls. He then says, where's Rara? Oh, now I remember. Did Rara protect Wally? Yes, I'm sure Rara did. Well then, for the time being, I guess I'd better. As he hangs up his clothes, as Mr. Briny, heads down, saying, huh? You woke up finally, huh? What are you doing? Looks like you're turning my boat into some kind of frou-frou boutique. Ruby questions, boat? As he's blow drying his clothes. It took me a second to realize what he was holding. Ruby says, you saved me. That means we're at sea? As he comes up from below, he looks out to the wide ocean. Briny looms over Ruby, saying, that's right, we're in the middle of Sea Route 106. Ruby thinks to himself, this geezer is huge. He tells him, thank you so much for... Briny says, if you want to thank someone, thank Pico. The one who found you floating on the water like a fishing bobber was my cute little Pico. He blows a kiss at his Pokemon. I love that. He's hard-edged. For the most part, except when it comes to Pico. I vaguely remember this guy. Didn't we have to save his... Wingull? Oh, man, just thinking about it. We haven't seen any of my favorite Pokemon in this, have we? I don't think so. No, it was with Steven. Metagross. Yep. I love me Metagross. He's kind of freaky looking, but it's a lot of times I've seen Metagross. It's really cool. I don't think I ever personally owned a Metagross in any of the games I played, but I always thought it was cool in the anime. Yeah, definitely one of my favorites. I think this is the only one so far. He then glares back at Ruby, saying, my name's Briny. I'm a retired sailor. What's yours? Ruby nervously says, I'm Ruby. Thank you very... Oh, and then he goes pale and starts to throw up. Briny, putting on a set of gloves, says, what, you just woke up and you're already seasick? Ruby off the side of the boat says, I guess so. Briny motions him back down to the hull, saying, oh well, wish I could pull into port and set you down on solid ground, but I've got things to do. You can keep napping down below until I'm done fishing. Ruby says, okay. Although suddenly he just falls down into the bows of the ship, saying, fishing? I thought you said you're retired. Briny tells him today's a special day. I've heard tell of something that's got me all riled up. Rumor has it a special water-type Pokemon is finally gonna show up. Isn't that a Relicanth? Is it? I guess because it's an older type of Pokemon. Briny tells him, I've worked this boat for years, and it's the only resident of the deep blue sea I've never been able to catch, no matter how hard I try. According to legend, it's lived on the bottom of the ocean floor for more than 100 million years without changing. We still don't know where it lives, and it never comes up to the surface, neither. What we do know is that people from ancient times treated it as their friend, and it would ferry them deep down into the sea where no one could get to without its help. What do you think? A strange story, huh? Ruby, rather dismissively, is reading something, saying, not really. And that Pokemon isn't even attractive. Oh, he's looking at the picture. The Briny questions, not attractive? My, but you're a weird fellow. Oh well, just get some rest. Ruby simply says, okay. As we see Skitty also get a little seasick, he says, but how am I supposed to rest when the boat is rocking like crazy? How do sailors do it? You're seasick too, Kiki. He then turns to a fish tank, saying also, I don't think we have the same aesthetic sense. As he sees several Pokemon, a Remoraid, a Magikarp, a Wishcast, and what is that one? Oh no, that's not a Remoraid, it's a Barbour. Oh, Huntail. Right, okay. That's what that one is. Briny turns, saying, "Did you say something?" But we see something deep underwater that suddenly makes a move. Wishcast turns, as if indicating something. Ruby catches wind of this and comes up, saying, "Mr. Briny, there's something rattling down there." Briny says, Wishgo's found something again. This is my Wishcast, Wishgo. Its whiskers detect movement in the world's crust, which helps us predict earthquakes. I have Wisco check for upcoming earthquakes before I go out to sea. We've had a lot of them recently. I wonder why. Ruby is aghast at this, remembering Wally's words saying, "Might be an earthquake. We've had a lot of them lately." Ruby thinks on this and then says, "Mr. Briny, aren't you going to ask me how I got tossed into the sea?" Briny tells him, "Seafaring men aren't nosy, my boy. If you want to tell me, tell. If you don't, don't." Mr. Brighty's hardcore. Ruby says, "I got caught in an earthquake. I was trying to catch a Pokemon with a friend when all of a sudden the ground broke under my feet and I fell into the sea." Brighty turns, asking, "Where was it?" Ruby says, "Outside Petalburg City, on the shore with a view of Sea Route 105. Brighty opens up his map, saying, "The epicenter of the earthquake must have been in the Pacificology, Pacifidologad area." What the heck? Just as I thought. Oh, I caught something. As his line pulls, and as he tugs on it, he brings out several Whalmer? Yeah, Whalmer, which will eventually turn into Wailord. "Don't lord it over me, bruh." He then grabs some net balls and tosses them at the Whalmer, catching all of them. He then casts out his line again, saying, "These aren't what I came for, but they're fine-looking, Whalmer." Earthquake, eh? Well, it doesn't hurt to learn about the ways of nature, that's for sure. You know how I found this prime fishing spot so quickly? Because I was heading towards that. He points out, and we see a flock of Wingull. See the flock of flying-type Pokemon over there? They're fishing too. Fishermen look for flocks of flying-type Pokemon and follow them there to their hunting ground. Nature and Pokemon have a lot to teach us humans, you know. Aha! Another bite. But as he pulls on the line, he struggles, saying it's fighting back. Oh, Ruby says, maybe it's the deep sea Pokemon you were talking about. Mr. Bryan says, wouldn't that be great? Fishing is a battle of patience and endurance. Sometimes this tug-of-war can go on for days, but suddenly something jostles their boat upwards. Oh, and suddenly a Crawdont comes climbing on board. Ruby saying, it's climbing on board. It's a Crawdont, the rogue Pokemon. Oh, Crawdont tosses Briny into the water. Ruby goes and reaches for him, calling out to him. Briny calls out, "Crawdont lives in rivers and ponds. What's one doing out?" Oh, he's suddenly pulled into the water as Crawdont cuts Mr. Briny's line. Dang. Ruby thinks Mr. Briny is a big guy and this Pokemon tossed him like a rag doll. Crawdont suddenly uses Flash to blind Ruby? Is that what it's doing? I'm not sure. His head starts to glow though. Well, Ruby has made his way to Sea Route 106, but gotta go in the opposite direction of what we were trying to go. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Hard to say. Man, Wailord is level 41! Jables! Well, it's chapter 193. Stick this in your craw. Crawdont, part 2. Oh, it's Crawdont. He gets ready to fire. Mr. Briny says, "Oh no, watch out!" And it fires off a laser? Oh, Hyper Beam. What? Dang. Brutal. Barely missing Ruby. Mr. Briny says, "How dare that Pokemon attack my boat? That was Hyper Beam. Go, Pico!" And Mr. Briny's Wingull goes in on the attack. Oh, it's Quick Attack used on Crawdont. Mr. Briny says, how's that? Quick Attack. That ought to finish you off. Ooh, but Wingull's beak starts to crack, and it hits the ground. Dang. Crawdont grabs it by its head and flings it upward, and then slams it down. Jeez, poor Wingull. And then he just smashes him down. Briny calls out for his Wingull. Ruby questions why. Why didn't Pico's Quick Attack have any effect? But then Briny sees Crawdont's shell shining. He says, "Now I remember. Shell armor. A powerful armor that protects its weak spot from an opponent's attack. That's its ability. Ruby says, you mean? Mr. Briny says, that's right. In some respects, this Pokemon has no weak spot. I mean, for now. But the boat is suddenly jostled by the waves, which causes Mr. Briny to knock his head on the side of the boat, pretty much causing him to pass out. Ruby calls out for Mr. Briny, and then thinks he's out cold. Crawdon comes up from behind and goes to attack, but Ruby simply says, so, you don't have a weak spot, huh? Which causes Crawdon to stop. He then pokes at Crawdon's chest, saying, no, you do have one, don't you? It's just that everybody has that your body is encased in this hard shell, so you're shielded from critical hits, right? Well then. Oh, Jeebus. How? He just pulls Briny out of the water with one hand and gotcha. Lowers him into the bottom of the boat. Crawdon's just watching this. Ruby looks around saying nothing but ocean. Nobody watching? I guess it's okay then. Kiki. And Skitty gives a nod. And then what is it doing? It starts chasing its tail. Crawdon goes to attack. What happened? There's a blinding light. And then we just cut to Briny waking up. He goes, ah. He sees his Wingull on his chest with its beak splint. Briny says, Pico, what the? Your injuries, they've been tended to, huh? What is this? And he sees that his Wingull had his lashes done. Ruby says, hello and good morning. Mr. Briny turns, seeing Ruby. As Ruby says, I put a little makeup on Pico while treating his injuries. Pico looks even cuter than before, doesn't it? Briny says, that's not what I'm talking about. Did you pull me back up onto my boat? And what happened to that dangerous rogue Pokemon, Crawdon? Ruby, still a little seasick, holds his mouth before he pukes, pointing over where we see Crawdon has been hog-tied. Gee, what did he do? And we keep not showing what he's able to do. Ruby says, I got really lucky. And smashed into the boat and collapsed when the boat was tossed by the wave. You got washed up on the boat too, Mr. Briny. Briny, obviously not believing it, says, I see. And then looks down, seeing Skitty chasing his tail, saying, by the way, what is your Skitty doing? Ruby says, they have a habit of chasing their own tail. He shows off the Pokédex that reads Skitty, the kitten Pokemon. Skitty is known to chase around playfully after its own tail. In the wild, this Pokemon lives in holes in the trees of forest. It is very popular as a pet because of its adorable look. Ruby says, see? And Mr. Briny goes, huh. But then suddenly the boat jostles and Ruby almost throws up. Briny says, oops, I forgot. I've got to get back to steering the vessel. The boat's way off course. Oopsie daisy. Ruby claps his hands, saying, wow, you look so competent when you pilot the boat. You sure are a skilled seafarer. Odd. I'm positive this kid is hiding something from me. As he turns back to the almost puking Ruby, he then sees Crawdon's eyes, and it got hearts. Briny thinks the Crawdon is infatuated. There's a mark left on the deck from the battle, and his shell is shattered. I'm guessing Skitty's cute charm infatuated Crawdon, and then Skitty grabbed that opportunity to attack with Double Edge, but in order to do that, the Skitty had to touch his opponent and receive a direct attack from it. Was this little Skitty able to withstand a direct attack like that? Wait, a spinning movement. What if that's actually a way to reduce the impact of an attack, as well as put itself in contact with the opponent as many times as possible to increase the probability of infatuating its opponent? Did this kid and this Pokemon actually pull off such a complicated maneuver? If so, then that is one tough Skitty. As we see Ruby picking up the dizzy Skitty, Mr. Briny says, hey kid, did you? He then stops for a moment and laughs. Never mind. I'm a seafarer. I don't pry into people's secrets. If you want to tell me, do. If you don't. Although Ruby's already puking off the side of the boat, with Mr. Briny saying, maybe I'm overthinking this. Later, he says, there it is. We can finally see it. That's due for town. I'm gonna set sail as soon as I drop you off to continue my pursuit of this Pokemon. While I'm out on the high seas, I'll see about those recent earthquakes and such. Find out what's happening to Hoenn. Meanwhile, with Sapphire traveling aboard Wailord, she calls out, hey, there it is. That's due for town. It took days to get here, but it'll be nice to be on dry land again. Yeah, it's always great to be on dry. But Lori, you tired? Oh, Wailord, I'm not sure what it's doing, but it jostles forward, causing Sapphire to move forward. She says, that's incredible, Lori. You just made a huge wave with your sneeze. Oh, it sneezed. She then hears something and says, huh? Hey, Lori, toss me in the air. And Wailord does just that with its spout. Sapphire sees from her vantage point the wave that Wailord made running into some people. She says, oh no, the huge wave Lori made with its sneeze is headed right for the people on the beach. One guy in particular who's on his surfboard. Oh, is this who I think it is? My favorite of the gym leaders? At least in Hoenn. Sapphire calls out, look out! But as she opens her eyes, she sees none other than Broly surfing with his Makuhita. Always loved the design. Sapphire says, is a gas, as Broly says, you, that was a nice big wave. A voice calls out, hey, you alright? As Sapphire has come towards the shallow end of things from the Wailord, Broly says, yeah, why? Sapphire says, I'm really sorry, I am. Lori sneezed and made a mess of your waves. Broly looks off to the Wailord in the distance, saying, your Wailord made that huge wave just by sneezing? Cool, don't worry about it. Waves that size are perfect for surfing. Couldn't have asked for a better one. He smiles at his Makuhita. Sapphire says, right, you're really something, you know that? Besides, Broly says, besides, it was good training for my Pokemon here too. Sapphire says, huh, this Pokemon looks like a fighting type to me. How come you're teaching it surf? Broly says, I did say I was training my Pokemon, didn't I? But that doesn't mean I was trying to teach Makuhita the move surf. Like you said, this is a fighting type Pokemon. What I wanted to learn from surfing is the soft and flexible fighting style. Sapphire questions soft and flexible. Broly says that's right. Basically, there are two kinds of fighting styles. The hard and tough style and the soft and flexible style. Shoot, it sounds like the Isle of Armor DLC. Hard and tough is where you use your own strength to defeat your opponent. Soft and flexible uses your opponent's strength against them. You don't resist the flow. You ride with it. Kinda like surfing, see? Sapphire says, right. Broly then leans over and checks out. If the bag and the badge wasn't there, it'd be like, Broly? Stranger danger. But he spies Sapphire's bag, saying, so if you're thinking about challenging me, you'd better keep that in mind. Sapphire says, what? Challenging? You mean you're... Broly says, yep. Dewford Town's gym leader. Name's Broly. See, you've earned your stone badge from Roxanne. That must mean you want to challenge me too, right? Sapphire says, I do. Broly says, well, I'm going away for a while, starting tomorrow to a training camp. So if you want to battle me, you better drop by the gym tonight or tomorrow morning at the latest. Sapphire says, what? Broly goes, see ya. When Sapphire is walking down the dock, she thinks, tonight or tomorrow morning at the latest. As we see Mr. Briny mooring his ship, he says, okay, come along. Come ashore, kid. Ruby gets off the boat saying, finally. I still feel seasick. Hey, it's you! Both he and Sapphire say as they lock eyes. Time for a Pokemon battle. 70 days left until the deadline. Alright, chapter 194. Guile from Mawile. Both Ruby and Sapphire say, you! While Mr. Bright says, hey kid, you know her? And Sapphire brings out her Torchic saying, more than that, he's my rival. This feels like a one-sided rivalry. Mr. Bright says, questions, right? Sapphire says, my name's Sapphire. I'm traveling around Hoenn to challenge all the gym leaders. And this here's Ruby. He's traveling around Hoenn to compete in all the Pokemon contests. I love that even Torchic's kind of laughing. Ruby says, what are you snickering about? Sapphire declares, our goals might be different, but we've got the same passion inside us. That's why we decided that we got 80 days to accomplish what we said we would. Then we'll meet up where we started and show how much we've learned and accomplished. Mr. Bright says, I see. While Ruby says, come to think of it, you're already wearing clothes that aren't made out of leaves. You've become civilized. That's a step. Well, Sapphire says, hey, hands off, bub. She talks like Wolverine. I'm the best there is at what I do. And what I do is raise Pokemon. So how goes it? Been a little over a week. Won any contests yet? Ruby looks down in dejection saying, not yet. While Sapphire shows off her bag, which Oh no, maybe it's just my dirty mind, but it's just like present the booty. Well, I've won something. Huh. Ruby says, a gym badge? I just need to get to a town that hosts a Pokemon contest, and it'll be a piece of... Sapphire says, oh really? I still don't think a weakling like you could survive a tough journey through Hoenn. Pokemon have to be cute and beautiful. Beautiful. I can't stand to see him fight. You still saying stuff like that? Ruby says, what's wrong with what I say? I have my own way of doing things. The pursuit of beauty, Pokemon contests are wonderful, fantastic, awesome. Not that someone like you, the wild girl of the mountains, could ever understand something as sophisticated as that. Mr. Briny and Miss Pico are aghast. Well, it's Wingle. Sapphire says, oh yeah? Ruby says, yeah. And they're both growling at each other. Briny says, hey now you two. They then turn away from each other. Sapphire says, forget it. Don't have time to waste. Ruby says, neither do I. He gives a bow saying, Mr. Briny, thank you very much for everything. Mr. Briny says, of course. And unfortunately, they're headed down the same route. Just looking at each other menacingly. Sapphire says, how come you're following me? Ruby says, you're the one following me. Cut to a cave. But do we know what cave that is? I don't remember this route. Granite Cave. Okay. Right, no, that was already mentioned. Gotcha. Sapphire says, hey, quit following me. Oh, Ruby says, I have something to do in this cave. Sapphire says, and what is it you're gonna do in this cave? Ruby says, that's none of your business. They then come to a fork in the road of the cavern. Sapphire says, perfect timing. It splits into two directions here. I'm going to take the path on the right. Ruby says, fine, and I'll take the one on the left. They both go, I love that even their Torchic and Mudkip are just like, as Sapphire starts to climb and Ruby walks downward? It's kind of hard to... Yep, downward. It goes downward. Ruby says, Granite Cave. She has no idea why I'm here. He rustles in his bag and pulls out a book that reads, Picture Dictionary, Water Pokemon of the Hoenn region. We cut to a flashback of Briny saying, take a look at this, kid. Ruby says, water Pokemon of the Hoenn region. Briny says, yeah, you said my Pokemon weren't beautiful enough for a little while ago. Ruby looks at Briny's Pokemon saying, we're all staring at him with these dead fish stares. Briny flips through the book saying, maybe the Pokemon on my vessel aren't to your taste, but there are lots of other water Pokemon in the Hoenn region. For example, how about this one? And he brings out a picture of, I have no idea. Milotic, there we go. As soon as I saw the name, I'm just like, that's what it is. Ruby is immediately taken, with Bryce saying, if it tickles your fancy, you can take the book with you. And Ruby nods. Cut back to present day. Ruby is enamored with the Milotic, saying, no one knows where it lives or if it evolves or not. Milotic is a super rare Pokemon. I had no idea such a beautiful Pokemon existed. I have to catch one. A Milotic would be perfect to win the beauty category of a Pokemon contest. As of now, the first goal of my journey is to get a hold of this Pokemon. And so, he brings out all of his Pokemon, namely Mudkip, Poochyena, and Skitty, and says, we're going to do a thorough search of everywhere we go. I'm counting on you, Moo, Nana, Kiki. And they all start sniffing about as Ruby says, I have a hunch. This water-type Pokemon doesn't live in salty water like the sea, but in freshwater springs and such. Yep, like this pool. As he comes upon a glistening pool in the cavern, he says, look into its cool depths. Don't you get the feeling that it must be filled with cute and beautiful Pokemon? And suddenly Zubat, he freaks out, saying those were strange looking. And then suddenly it was a herd of Zubat and Golbat. And then a herd of Geodude and Graveler. And he goes, hey! Now more Pokemon appear behind him. And he says, great, more of them. But it's a whole herd of Mawile, which, Mawile is already a lot as one of them. As Ruby leans down saying, ew, that's better. This spot has cute Pokemon too. But then Mawile turns and all the back of its head is a massive maw, which goes to chomp down on Ruby. Oh, and Poochie gets bitten up as Ruby calls out for Poochiana. The other Mawile go after him. It's all he can do to get out of the way, saying, "Oh no, look out!" He manages to get to a nearby. Oh, it's Steven Stone who said look out, as he's managed to drag Ruby up to a cliff and asks, "Are you all right?" Ruby says, "Thank you very much." Steven says, "This is a pack of Mawile, deceiver Pokemon. They have a timid demeanor, but attack suddenly with their gaping jaws, which are actually horns." Oh, they're horns? Interesting. Ruby brings out his Pokedex, which reads, Mawile, the deceiver Pokemon. Mawile's huge jaws are actually steel horns that have been transformed. Its docile-looking face serves to lure its foes into letting down its guard. When the foe least expects it, Mawile chomps it with its gaping jaws. Ruby says, "You're right." But then, Poochiana starts to evolve. Ruby says, "Nana, what's happening?" Steven says, Ruby says, "It's that stone." As Skitty starts to evolve too. Steven says, "It looks like two of your Pokemon are starting to evolve. At the moment, we need to focus on how we're going to deal with this vicious pack of Mawile, though. My name's Steven. You'll help me, won't you?" Ruby says, "Of course. Kiki." And Skitty dives in as both it and Poochiana evolve. What a weird timing on that. All right, chapter 195, Mashing Makuhita. I love that name, Makuhita. Okay, so over with Sapphire, she brings out Aaron, and she already had Torchic out. She says, "Okay, this ought to do it. Sheik, Rhino, Rono, we're going to start training." As a horde of Golbat and Zubat come, and probably the ones that passed by Ruby made their way to Sapphire, and she commands Torchic to just start lighting up them bats. And when the horde of Graveler and Geodude come, he commands Aaron to go in, and it just starts beating his head against the horde. Like, man, this is some tough stuff. Freaking horde battle! Horde battle! Horde battle! Both Torchic and Aaron are sweating profusely, but Sapphire says it ain't over yet. And they continue just dishing it out with the hordes of these Pokemon. I mean, that's what it can feel like sometimes. You got these massive groups of Pokemon. It's just like, look, just let them all come at me at once. That way I don't have to keep dealing with this shit. Sapphire thinks, Brawly, the Dewford Town gym leader. He's really strong. You can tell just by talking to him. He's that strong. Which is funny because I don't remember him being that challenging. I love his design, but I don't remember him being challenging. Well, actually, no, I shouldn't say that. There was at least one Pokemon of his that I remember actually being just a little tough. No, okay, he didn't have it at the time. Weird. And I didn't play Emerald, so, maybe it was just, I think it was the knockoff attack that kept getting me with Sand Attack. Okay, I think that was it. I think I know what it is. And now, he remembers Brawly saying, what I want it to learn is the soft and flexible fighting style. A style in which you don't resist your opponent's force, like surfing. You ride it and turn it against them. Sapphire thinks he knows I'm a challenger, but he still has the confidence to tell me what's up his sleeve. Even with this knowledge, if I fight him now, I'll probably lose. He'll be able to easily dodge my attack. I'm sorry, Mr. Devon, Corporation President. I know I promised to head to Dewford Town to give Steven this letter, but I'm going to need a little more time. I'm going to challenge Broly. It has to be tonight. She then realizes something and thinks, only tonight. Okay, and then we cut to later as she makes her way out of the cave saying, I did it. All right. And she heads back to the city. Ooh, I love the aesthetic here. We're really starting to get to the kind of out there way that some of these gyms look. Because I love the gyms that start looking more and more elaborate as time goes on. Because in the games, a lot of the gyms kind of looked the same during a certain part. Yeah, there was a while where a lot of the gyms looked the same for a long time. It's just like they were easy to spot, but when the gyms started really reflecting the nature of the gym leaders, That's when they got really fun. 'Cause I think it was a while until they actually started kind of mixing up the way that the gyms actually look. But Sapphire's knocking on the Dewford City gym saying, I'm here. Is the gym leader in? I'm here to challenge ya. The door is open and we see Broly. Oh, Brawly. Oh, I love that it's on a beach. That's wild. That is friggin' wild. Yeah, even looking at it in the Ruby and Sapphire games, just like, man, what a plain looking gym. I like it better in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, where it looks like a gym. Like, yo, a place for gym bros, dude. Oh, Broly, get your protein shake, man. I knew you'd come. Okay, I'm ready for you. As he makes his way to the battle platform, arena, whatever, he says, 2 Pokemon each, and we're free to exchange them whenever we want during the battle. But as soon as one of your Pokemon is defeated, the other trainer wins. Got it? Sapphire says, gotcha. They both dash in, unleashing their Pokemon. Broly unleashes a Machop, but what Sapphire unleashes ends up being way too fast to see. Broly goes, it's fast. What Pokemon is she using? She then commands her Pokemon to use Peck. Whoa. It already evolved into Combuskin, the Fire Chicken Penis Pokemon. I'm sorry, look. You look at this thing, it looks exactly like what I said it is. Combuskin uses Peck on Machop and just starts laying into it. Machop ain't getting no time to breathe. Ooh, and almost gets impaled on friggin' Combuskin's friggin' claws. But thanks to Combuskin missing, Machop is able to kick it back. Dang. To have it evolve already. Were my Pokemon at a state that it could evolve at this point? Yeah, level 16 it evolves. Okay, yeah, probably. Dang, though. Combuskin manages to land, though, perfectly from the kickback. Oh, Aaron evolved too. I'm not used to that form. I'm used to the final evolution. But La Iron really says, talk about fast. Not bad. Sapphire says, there's no use hiding. Guess I'll show you my other Pokemon now. And she brings out Iron. She says, I'm ready to beat you, Mr. Gym Leader. Let's see if you bring out your big slugger. Broly brandishes the Pokeball with Makuhita in it, saying, looks like I've got quite a tidal wave coming at me. He glances at Makuhita and the ball, thinking, good, it's almost ready. And he recalls Machop and tells her, judging by how serious you seem to be about this, it looks like I won't be able to take it easy and use my Machop. Sapphire gulps, thinking, here it comes. And Broly says, you asked for it. My slugger Makuhita. And he brings out Makuhita. Sapphire says, all right, let's see what your strongest Pokemon is made of. Show me this fancy, soft, and flexible technique of yours. Rono, Metal Claw, Iron Tail. And as Iron goes in for the attack, Makuhita smiles. And what is it doing? Is it moving? Sapphire says, what? Oh yeah, as Makuhita just slips right past like it was nothing. Dang, I ain't never seen a Makuhita look that intimidating. Ooh, Iron just hits the ground and rolls hard. Just dang. Broly smiles. Good, very good. That's right. Just like the waves that come and go, let the attacks flow over you. Oh, he's going for that Bruce Lee training. Iron goes in for another attack, but Makuhita dodges and just bops at one. As Sapphire calls out for Iron, Broly says, just ride the wave. As, it didn't tap Iron. It grabbed him and just chucked it over. Like, dang. And it looks like Iron's just about to hit the ground hard. Sapphire recalls Lyron as Broly says, so close. Really close. Your Pokemon was just about to collapse. Good job. Looks like you've taken the time to train your Pokemon well, but no matter how strong or how fast they become, it's no defense against a Pokemon using the soft and flexible fighting style. And we have Makuhita just flexing. Yeah, swole! Sapphire then sends in Combuskin, telling it to use Flamethrower. Broly mocks her, saying, I see, an attempt to avoid melee combat. you switch to fire-type moves. I'm not sure about that strategy. My Makuhita's ability is thick fat. The thick layer of fat covering its body will cut the power of a fire-type move in half. And Makuhita just tanks that flame blast like bang. And I mean, I knew Makuhita could be tough, but I'm usually used to its final evolution being the real heavy hitter. Combuskin then goes in and to strike with its claws, but Makuhita just dodges and I don't know if it nails it in the back of the head or just sends it on its way. Oh yeah, it sends it on its way, causing its claws to get stuck in the wall next to it. Dang. Broly says, it's over. Sapphire says, phew, this Gym Leader is mighty strong. Your soft and flexible fighting style is awesome. You're dodging all my attacks and there isn't a thing I can do about it. Broly laughs. Why, thank you. Oh, Sapphire then brings a vine out of her bag? And she says, but that ain't all right. There's another secret hiding in your soft and flexible technique. I grew up in the mountains, so I was always climbing trees. I have to use a vine to get up into the tall one. But you don't get anywhere by just throwing a vine up there and hoping it wraps it around a bunch, she says, showing as she tries to throw the vine on the piping on the ceiling. She says, you gotta swing it before you toss it. Rolly goes, huh? She says, everybody does it like this, right? And slowly you gather the power into the vine a little bit at a time to collect the energy in one place. And she manages to snag the piping up top, saying perfect. Just like the soft and flexible technique, right? You don't fight the opponent's attack, you dodge it. And when you do, you're able to slowly gather and focus the energy inside your body. I'm right, ain't I? Broly claps going, bingo, you saw right through me. But if you know all that, then can you guess why I was gathering all that energy, can't you? Oh, Broly then has a readout of Makuhita's Pokédex entry, which is Makuhita, the Guts Pokemon. When Makuhita is tenacious, it will keep getting up and attacking its foe however many times it is knocked down. Every time it gets back up, this Pokemon stores more energy in its body for evolving. There it is. That's the thing. Now, I'm not saying Makuhita's a bad Pokemon, but it's all about that final evolution, baby. As Broly says, slow and steady, no need to rush. It gathered all the energy it needs to evolve. As Makuhita evolves into Hariyama. I do love Hariyama. Not one of my all-time favorites, but it's one that's grown on me over time. Alright, we then cut to chapter 196. Ring ring goes Beldum. Oh, we're cutting to this. Oh, I actually kind of wanted to see the end of the fight between Broly and Sapphire. Oh, that's kind of a bummer. But we cut back to the evolution of Poochyena and Skitty. As Steven watches, he says the Pokemon are starting to change shape. They're evolving. One of them brushed against the stone on my belt, and somehow that started its evolution. Odd. He looks over to the side and sees Ruby's not there anymore. Oh my god. He looks down and back in with the Mawile mosh pit, as it were. You have friggin' Ruby with a friggin' camcorder saying, Kiki, Nana, look over here. That's it, you two look stupendous. Almost forgot to snap some pictures. He's just like a parrot. Oh my god, and he's just avoiding the Mawile who are coming at him. And Steven grabs him by the shoulders saying, what are you doing? Ruby says, recording the evolution of my Pokemon. Don't all Pokemon trainers do that? This is a rare opportunity to fill up a Pokemon in the process of evolving. Besides, I take pictures of them every day anyway. I already have 36 photo albums. Want to see them? He brings out the photo album. And Steven says, now is not the time for that. As he grabs Ruby by the collar and leaps out of the Mawile pit, they land further up, along with Ruby's newly evolved Pokemon. As Ruby says, wow, you've gotten even cuter, Kiki, and you look even cooler, Nana. And, of course, Mighty Anna. Love me a Mighty Anna. I love how happy little pupper is. And what was the Delcatty? Yeah, there we go. Delcatty evolves with a Moonstone. Okay. Yeah, okay. So Skitty evolved because of the Moonstone that Steven had. But I guess for Poochyena, it was just at that point. As they're running, Ruby says, I didn't catch your name. Steven says it's Steven. Ruby then asks, you said something about a stone, didn't you? I don't know about Nana, but it looks like Kiki started evolving right after touching that stone on your belt. Oh, and we see he just has all the stones kind of loosely on his belt. Yeah, that was bound to happen. Steven says, yes, some Pokemon evolve after exposure to the energy of a specific type of stone. Your Pokemon happen to be one of those. And my job is to find rare stones like that. I'm a stone collector, which I didn't know that. Was that always the case with him? Collector of rare stones? I had to have the last name Stone, too. I really don't remember a lot about Steven. It's so weird that I don't remember that much about him. Ruby says a stone collector. I see, so Kiki is cuter now thanks to you. I owe you one. Ask me for anything. I'll be happy to help. Steven's a little taken aback by this, but then he says, really? Then follow me. I need you to distract the Mawile. And then they get to a clearing and we mostly see Ruby. Oh, okay. Ruby was trailing behind Steven. As Ruby looks around, he says, a dead end? Steven says, it's okay. My Pokemon are waiting for me here. I ordered them to stay and tell me if they find any unique stones in the area. He snaps his finger, and several Beldums show up. 3 of them, to be specific. All bursting out of the wall, Steven says, go, Beldum! But the Mawile are prepared, guarding themselves with iron defense, which Ruby calls out. The Mawile then starts snapping at the Beldum, as Ruby turns to Steven saying, they've been bitten by those steel jaws. Steven says, don't worry. Those Pokemon might be steel type, but so are mine. As the Beldum managed to, burst through the Mawile's horn jaw thingies. That's kind of brutal. Steven says, and this is where I could use your help. I need you to order your 2 fastest Pokemon to contain the movements of the Mawile so they can't escape. Ruby says, okay, Kiki, Nana, sending Mightyena and Delkitty in, corralling the Mawile. As they're all bunched together, Steven says, and now, and he snaps his fingers again, and suddenly there's a rumbling underneath. Ruby calls out in shock, as suddenly Metagross comes bursting in like the Kool-Aid Man from underneath, sending all the Mawile flying, with Steven and Ruby boarding on top of the Metagross. Oh, so there's multiple Metagross. Metagrossies. Wait, no, there's Metagross and, what is the other thing? Metang, yeah, the evolution of Beldum. Okay. God, I always forget about that second evolution. Mid-evolutions always catch me off guard. Yeah, Ruby's on top of, Metang. So not used to that one. So Metagross and Metang just start hovering upward as Ruby calls out for his Delkitty and Mightyena to board. Ruby turns to Steven asking, what happened? Steven says, Metang and Metagross. There's a powerful magnetic force running through their bodies that enables them to fly by repelling the planet's magnetic field. Ruby says, neat. Oh, Steven then spots something shining in the rock wall as they head upward. He takes a brace off of his arm and sends it out, managing to swipe up. Oh, that's so cool. An interesting looking stone. Steven says, here's a nice stone. Well, Ruby says, talk about stone collecting. It kind of looks like some kind of sunstone. Yeah, it's a sunstone. Okay, I thought so. Yeah, and they even say it on the next page. Steven says, this is a sunstone. The stone that evolved your Pokemon was a moonstone, by the way. The whole region is packed with wonderful stones like this, and they're all works of art. Since ancient times, Pokemon trainers searched for these stones to harness their energy. They polished these stones they found and called them orb. Oh, this is leading into, okay, I know what this is leading into. Ruby says, stones and orbs, huh? Well, Steven says, you sound like you're bored to tears. Ruby says, sorry, the only thing I'm interested in is Pokemon contests, and I'm so happy that Nana and Kiki have become even cuter and cooler. It's fabulous. Though, suddenly Steven's like grabbing, or is he patting down Ruby or restraining him? What is he doing? Even Ruby's like, oh, what are you doing? Steven takes a moment and says, I know you can do it. Ruby asks, do what? Steven tells him, stones aren't the only thing I'm searching for. I need allies too. Allies who will help me defeat the 2 great evils that lurk in Hoenn. Okay, so plot. What's your name? How old are you? Ruby says, Ruby, 11. Steven jumps on his Metang saying, Ruby, only 11, eh? If you were older, I'd definitely ask you to join me. Ah, a responsible adult. Ruby goes, what? Oh, please, I'm terrible at Pokemon battles, you know? Steven, without looking at him, says, do you really think I didn't notice your skill? Ruby gulps. And as Steven takes off, he says, I hope we meet again, Ruby. And he takes off with his Metang and Metagross. As Ruby watches, he says, two great evils that lurk in Hoenn. I wonder what he meant by that. Oh well, you better get going too. You're gonna find out whether you want to or not. This was a fun series of chapters. Nothing too impactful. It was mostly just about the journey. It's hard to say which I prefer, because I love the battle-oriented nature of Sapphire's journey, but Ruby, whether he wants it to be or not, is more about the exploration. Now, the encounter with Mr. Briny was fun, but it really didn't catch my attention too much. The re-encounter with Ruby and Sapphire was fun, but I feel like things would be more interesting if they stuck together. But that's not the purpose of their journey. The encounter with Steven Stone was fun though, and he's a cool customer. I liked Ruby's interaction with him. I just kind of wish that he had spent a little time with Sapphire too. But still waiting to see if Sapphire can pull out a win against Broly, and she only has so much time. But him setting things up so that his Makuhita can evolve into Hariyama, that was actually kind of fun. And I like the knowledge that Sapphire has, just dropping that info. Info that would even intrigue a specialist. It really does show how capable she is in general. Though, the hidden abilities of Ruby is fun and all, but I do really kind of just want to see them. It's getting to a point where it's like, going from novel to a little bit annoying. Just because okay, go ahead and show me, man. I do wonder when we're finally going to see what he has on full display, but let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din and hope to see you later. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.